Okay, hi friends. Sorry I'm not there today. I thought what better way to teach you up than to record this wonderful, super exciting little video where I can kind of walk you through some examples. Hopefully you've been handed a skills test practice little handwritten worksheet that I made tonight. So I hope you've got that in front of you. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over what's going to be on skills test number 5 and what's going to be on skills test number 6. That's your next skills test. You're going to have another polynomial one and then skills test 5 and skills test 6. And we're going to take that tomorrow, which is Thursday. So we're going to practice these right now. I kind of go through some examples together. Then you are going to practice a worksheet that I've got for you. You're going to finish it for homework, and then tomorrow in class I'll answer questions, and then you're going to take skills test 5 and 6. Now my understanding from Miss Orr is this is stuff that you guys covered last year, so this is meant to be a review. I hope that's what it is. If it's not a review and it's something you're still needing to learn, that's okay. We're going to try and pick you up right here, and if you still don't get it, we're going to have you come to tutoring and see me, and I'll hook you up. We'll be talking about it in class some as well. So here we are, skills test number 5. We're going to be talking about different ways to find the slope. So there's a couple different representations. One of them is to look at it graphically. Usually this is the one that most kids are the most comfortable with. I usually like to have us start at the leftmost point and then go to the right point. So if I start here at the leftmost point, I'm going to have to count up and then to the right to get to that point. So if I count up, it's going to be not the one I start on. 1, 2, 3. So my top number is going to be 3. That's the rise, if you remember that. And then from there, I'm going to go over 1, 2. So my slope is going to be up 3 over 2. We use m to notate slope. That's just the variable that's used for it. I have no idea why. Somebody decided that a long time ago, and we all just do it. So the slope for this line is 3 over 2. Notice that's a positive slope. Oops, I can't write. Notice that's a positive slope. That's because as you read this from left to right, isn't it going up? It sure is. Okay, so now I've got this funky tripod. I hope I don't drop this all over. Eek. You'll have to bear with me. My whole phone could drop. We don't know what's going to happen. It's very exciting. All right, so here we are, example number 2. Again, I want to start with the leftmost point, and I'm going to go to the right one. To get from the left point to the right one, I'm going to have to go down 1, 2, 3. Ooh, sorry. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to have to go, oh, by the way, if I go down 3, that's a negative 3. And then I'm going to have to go over 1, 2. So that's going to be a positive 2 because I'm going in the positive direction. Is this slope positive or negative? What do you think? And this one is, as you read it from left to right, is it going up or down? It's going down. I'm imagining you all just said that. And so this one has a negative slope because it goes down as you read from left to right. Okay, I'm going to try not to drop my phone while I change here. It could go, it's a little dicey, people. All right, the next example here is to find the slope. All right, so we are given 2 points. We were given 2 points on a graph in our previous examples, and now we're just being given 2 points, and we have to figure out the slope. So I know we have spoken about this maybe last week. There's this formula. The slope is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And I remember asking about that, and lots of folks knew it. So I'm hoping that's somewhat familiar to you. Now, it's kind of confusing. Which one of these is 0.1 and which one's 0.2? It actually doesn't matter. Just pick one and go with it. Sometimes it helps people to label. This is x1 and y1. This is x sub 2 and y sub 2. If that helps you to see that, you're welcome to go ahead and do that. And then now I'm going to substitute in. So right here where it says y sub 2, I'm going to write an 11 minus, that's for my formula. And then now I've got to come over here and get y sub 1, which is a 5er, divided by, this says x sub 2, so I'm going to come over here to x sub 2 and put a 1, minus, ooh, and now this is a negative, so I've got to put parentheses like that. You've really got to be careful and pay attention to detail right here. That's what messes folks up a lot of times. All right, so this is going to be 11 minus 5 is 6, divided by, oh, this is 1, minus a negative is plus 2, so this is 6 over 3, which is 2. So the slope, Now listen to this wording. This is kind of funky. The slope of the line that goes through these 2 points. The slope of the line that goes through these 2 points is 2. So that means to get from one point to the other, I'm going to have to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And that would take me from this point to this point if I did that a couple of times. Okay. A couple of times. Is that true? Yeah. Okay. All right. So now, oops, I'm trying to talk to you about this one that you can't see because it's off the camera because I'm not technologically savvy. Don't judge me. Okay, so here we go again. Supposed to find the slope. M is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. All right, so again, if it makes you feel better, you are welcome to label these little cuties up here. And so now I'm going to go negative, it says y sub 2, so I'm going to go y sub 2, which is negative 4 minus 5 over x sub 2, that's 6 minus 6. So up top, I've got a negative 9, and then, I have a 0 in the denominator there. Do we know what a 0 in the denominator means? Hopefully that's something you learned last year. It's not something we've really talked about much this year, but 0 in the denominator means this is undefined. That's the undefined slope, and it's an undefined slope. I'll write that out there. And that tells you this is a vertical line. So there are 4 types of lines. I'll write it right here in the middle. You could have a positive slope, or 4 types of slope, I should say. You could have a positive slope. You could have a negative slope. You could have no slope or undefined. That's on vertical lines. Or you could have a slope of 0, which is on a horizontal line. So those are your possibilities right there. Okay. So positive slope, which we had up above in example number 1, negative slope, which we had in example 2, no slope or undefined, which we have right here in example number 4. That's when you get 0 in the denominator. And then a slope of 0 would be actually if you had the 2 y values the same. That would give you a slope of 0. Keep in mind, 0, this is going to happen with a horizontal line. And keep in mind this no slope is going to happen with a vertical line. So those are just some notes to help you remember. I'm hoping that's all stuff we're kind of familiar with. Okay, so we've looked at it graphically. We've looked at it given 2 numbers this way. Let's look at it in an X and a Y chart here. So example number 5, let me fix my little tripod. I don't want us to lose it. When you're looking at it this way, what we've been doing is we've just been going like this, saying, well, that's plus 5, that's plus 5, that's plus 5. And we go, oh, the slope is 5. Which is true in this problem. And the reason why that's true is because our x's are going by 1s while our y's are going by 5s. I'm going to say that again. Our x's are going by 1 while our y's are going by 5. Remember, it's y's, it's the change in y's over the change in x's. So our slope is going to be 5 over 1, which is just 5, which is what we're kind of used to. Oh, you can't see everything here. Let me do that. Okay. So that one's pretty straightforward. We've actually been doing some of that where we keep saying that this is the slope, but something really important to point out is the reason this is the slope is because this is by 1s over here. If you look at example 6, not the case, so we have to be a little bit more crafty about this one. So still the same numbers over here, if you notice from example 5, still going by plus 5. That hasn't changed. What has changed is that over here, this is increasing by 2 each time. So the slope on this one is not just 5 because this is not going by 1s. So remember, it's the change in y over the change in x or the rise over the run. This is going to give you the rise, so this is going to be 5, and then this is going to give you the run, which is 2. So the slope for this one is 5 over 2. Okay? All right, so that was a quick review. Look at that. In 9 minutes, we just reviewed everything we know about slope. Awesome. Okay, now I'm going to do a little switcheroony here. You're going to flip your paper. If I went too fast, you're welcome to ask your sweet sub to rewind that a little bit for us if you need to, or to stop and pause if necessary, especially on this one. This one's kind of hard. I'm going to need to back me out a little bit here. Oh, I hope you guys can still see that pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about what you're going to see on skills test number 6. This is writing equations of lines, which is no joke, my friends. This can really trick some people up. So you're going to need some practice at it. You might need to talk to somebody who knows how to do it. I certainly will answer questions on Thursday. I'm going to remind you of hopefully what you know, but if you need some more help with it, as always, I'm super happy to help you. I will be available on Thursday during lunch. So it says, there are two forms that we will use to write the equations of the lines. We're going to be using the SlopeIntercept form. Let's put underneath that y equals mx plus b. Hopefully you remember that and you're familiar with it. And we're going to use Pointslope Formula, or Pointslope Form, which is going to be, I'll write it here to the side because there's a little bit more space, which is going to be y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Now I'm hoping that is all familiar information. I'm hoping. If it's not, that's okay. We'll get you all caught up. But I'm hoping that this is a review, not a teaching. I need to do a better job if I'm supposed to be teaching you this completely. So let's start with slope-intercept form. We've got two forms. We'll talk about slope-intercept form, and then we'll get to point-slope form. Slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. What you need to use this form is you need the slope of the line, and you need the y-intercept. I know, the name says it all. It's the slope-intercept form. You need the slope and the y-intercept. What variables do we use for those? Well, generally we use an m for slope, and we use a b for the y-intercept. So graphically, if you can see m and b, great. All you got to do is just go for it. List out your m value. So come over here and count from your left point to your right point. Up 1, 2. So that's going to be 2 over, and then once I go up 2, I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3. So the slope here is 2 over 3, or 2/3. All right, B is your y-intercept. Remember right here it says B is your y-intercept. If you need to highlight that to help you remember, feel free to do so. What is my y-intercept? Uh-oh, I didn't do a very good job of labeling this, x and y. My y-axis is here. This guy right here is my y-intercept. That's a 1. So now I just put that information together. Thankfully, I've got m and I've got b, so my equation is y equals 2/3 x plus 1. That is the equation of that line. This is the equation of this line. I need b and I need m, and I can graph it. If I've got the graph, I need m and b to write the equation. So hopefully that looks familiar. All right, now I'm going to give you different, I'm asking you to do the same thing over and over again, but I'm going to be giving you different pieces of information. Over here in example 1, I gave you a graph. Here in example 2, I'm going to tell you what the slope is, and I'm going to tell you what the y-intercept is. So if I tell you the slope is 7, then m is equal to 7. And if I tell you the y-intercept is -4, then you know that b equals -4. So how do you write the equation? You use y equals mx plus b. Now look, I said something and then I wrote something else. I said y equals mx plus b. b is -4, so I just write -4. So right here is the equation of the line given my information written form like that. I'll give you a second to get caught up on any of that. I should have probably given you a second to do that one too. Isn't this fun? I told you this was going to be a lot of fun. We're almost there though. We have just a couple more examples, but the next two are the hard ones. So, well, one of the next two is a hard one. Okay, so here we go. Number 3, I'm going to kind of scooch it over. I might actually even make this a little bit bigger here. Okay. All right, so here we go, number 3. So to be able to use the slope-intercept form up above, we said we need the slope and a y-intercept. Can you guys tell that this right here is the y-intercept? You see how x is equal to 0? That tells you this is the y-intercept. If you don't know that, you can still do this problem, but it sure makes it easier if you recognize that, because that tells you right away that b is equal to 2. Now all I need is m, and I'm good to go. So how do you find m? We were just doing it a second ago on the other side. You take your y value and subtract your other y value, divided by your x value minus your other x value. So that's going to give me -1 up top, and then this minus and negative is a +1 on the bottom. So my slope is a -1. Now I know my slope m and I know b, so writing the equation of the line is going to be pretty straightforward. So this little humdinger right here, this is the equation of the line that has this point. It goes through this point and this point. So this line right here will go through both of these points. It has this y-intercept and it goes through that point. So this is the equation of the line through those 2 points. That's the way the language, that's the way we say it. The equation of the line that goes through. This is the equation of the line that goes through those 2 points. Okay, here's the hardest problem of the day. So I want to be able to write the equation of the line here using the point-slope formula. Unfortunately, I don't have the slope yet. Great news, I can find it. And I don't have the y-intercept. There's not a 0 here and there's not a 0 here, so this is not going to give me the y-intercept. So I have to find both of those things. Now I can do it, but I do have to find both. So I'm going to kind of scooch over here and give myself a little bit of space because it's going to take me some writing to be able to do this problem. First things first, I do know how to find the slope between 2 points. We were practicing that on the previous page. So I'm going to do 2 minus 3, that's subtracting my 2 y values, and then 2 minus 4, that's subtracting my x values. Now I'm going to simplify. That gives me a -1 on top and a -2 on the bottom. This is a positive 1/2. So my slope is positive 1/2. Yay! Now I've got to find b. So I'm going to start with y equals mx plus b. I've got 2 points, so that means I've got an x and a y here, and I've got an x and a y here. We'll call this one 1 and this one 2, but that doesn't really matter here. It mattered more for the slope. But anyway, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 variables. 1, 2, 3, 4 variables. I really need b. I know m. And can't I use one of these points, either one, for my x and my y? The answer is yes, and I'm going to do that so that I can find b. Let me show you what I mean. Pick one of these 2 points. I'm going to pick 2, 2 because the numbers are smaller, so the y value is a 2. M is a 1/2. X is another 2 plus b. I do not know b. That is what I'm trying to find. So now I'm going to simplify. I can't do anything to this 2. What about that one? Can't I make that over 1? What does that give me? These guys make a 1. This is a 1 plus b. Now I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides, and I get 1 equals b. Yay! Now I've got m and b. Here's my equation. This is the equation of the line that passes through these 2 points. This line passes through those 2 points. It has a slope of 1/2 and it has a b value or a y-intercept of 1. So let's recap what we did here. We were given 2 points. We need to be able to use the slope-intercept form, which is what our directions are wanting us to do in this section. I need to find the slope, so I did that. And then I need a y-intercept. I need to know what b is, but I don't know what it is in this problem. So I have to use my slope in one of the points. You can use either point, as I said a moment ago. I chose this one because, well, just because. I don't know. I like 2, 2. It seems like easier numbers, and I didn't have to think about which one was x and which one was y. So then I put that in, I substitute it in, and then I subtract the 1 over, and I get b equals 1. Yay! And then that's not enough. You've actually got to go write your equation. Notice in the 4 examples, what I've got done is I've got boxed up 1, 2, 3, 4. I've boxed up the equation of the line because that's what the directions were to do, write the equation of the line. All right, finally, we're almost done. You guys have been very patient, I hope. So this one says the point slope form is y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Guess what you need for this one? You need a point and you need the slope. Again, very creative naming. This is called the point slope form, and we need a point and the slope. We need that to use this form. So example number 5 gives us a point and a slope, which is what I just said we needed. All right, so here we go. I'm going to write the equation, or the formula, I should say. Now, where I see the x sub 1 and the y sub 1, that's where I'm going to plug these guys in. I'm going to actually leave the regular x and y alone, and I'm going to substitute in for m. So here's what I get. Y minus -5. So equals 2/3 times x minus 4. Simplify. Y plus 5 equals 2/3 x minus 4. This right here is how we want you to leave your answer. Okay. We want to see if you understand, if you know how to use this form, so we're asking you to leave your answer. Normally, you actually would not leave your answer like this. You'd simplify it and put it into slope-intercept form, but we're wanting to check this to see if you know how to do this, so we were going to ask you to leave it this way. And then finally, same exact thing, y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. This is my x sub 1, this is my y sub 1. So I get minus a negative 4 equals 1/5 x minus 1. Oh, that looks weird. Put a little comma in there. That was shoddy work by me, sorry. Now let's clean this up. Y plus 4 equals 1/5 x minus 1. And let's box it up. Okay, so now your lovely sub is going to pass out some practice on these problems for you. So you need to work in class right now. Whatever you don't finish is going to be homework, and we're not done for the day. You've got more to do after that. So you're going to have a limited time to work on this, so make sure you get to work, okay? I hope you guys have a great day. I will see you tomorrow, which is Thursday, and I will be happy to answer any questions. Peace out.